Hi everyone, thank you for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on this pretty big day of severe weather that we've got unfolding across the mid-Atlantic, parts of the Northeast, and then also parts of the Midwest. We could see we already do have a lower level piece of energy that's going to be moving its way across the Northeast and the northern U.S. This is going to be bringing some bands of severe thunderstorms that are going to be further developing as we get into the afternoon and daytime hours of today, as we will see some more convection in the atmosphere once we get those warmer temperatures to really get going. But for now, you can see that we've got our storm spinning around out here across parts of southern Minnesota, down into parts of northern Illinois, parts of northern Iowa, and then this also does include another band down here of strong to severe storms that's going to be moving their way across parts of western Kentucky, parts of northwestern Tennessee, parts of Missouri, and then also parts of northeastern Arkansas. So it's going to be a lot of places in the way of some severe storms today. So we're going to be breaking down all of that, and we also do have a huge update on the tropics, as it's looking like the tropics will come alive as we get into the later days of August. So welcome back to another Mr. Storm video, and let's get started right here by once again looking at this radar loop. You can see that you have a pretty big storm system moving its way across the Midwest and then eventually the Northeast. This is again going to be bringing some pretty heavy downpours to this entire region as we get into later into today, and we're going to really have to watch out for what impacts this storm could bring. So I'm going to be moving on to our alerts, and you can see that now, for what we've got going on, we've got a excessive heat warning. It's been out for a very long time. This is marking kind of where our heat dome is located at the moment. It's been shifting pretty farther east, so maybe we will see a less of a like big severe weather chance for you guys that are going to be closer to the heat dome. But there also is that possibility for some severe weather because you have the moisture that's slowly bringing down those temperatures, but then it's also fighting with that heat dome. So those two things kind of combining and fighting against each other are going to create a lot of mischief in the atmosphere, and that's what we don't want to see in terms of severe weather. But that's what we have going on. We've got a massive excessive heat warning stretching all the way from eastern Texas, including the entire state of Louisiana, pretty much the entire state of both Mississippi and Alabama. This goes into parts of southeastern Arkansas, parts of Georgia. This is a lot of Georgia, actually. Only the eastern and northern parts of Georgia are not included in that excessive heat warning. Then also the northern edge of Florida, not quite the Panhandle, but the northern edge of Florida is included in this excessive heat warning. Okay, and for the surrounding areas, you do have a heat advisory. That's just for those areas that that you guys will still see some pretty hot temperatures, except you're not seeing that exceptional heat that the rest of the southern U.S. is seeing. But one good sign, though, is that we do not have an excessive heat warning out for this region anymore. We had extreme temperatures. If you guys don't remember, we had temperatures that got over 115 degrees out here along the Southern California and Arizona borderline. That's dangerous heat. That is heat that can really be dangerous to many people. But we go all the way out to August, and it's finally cooled down so much that we don't even have any heat advisory watches or warnings out for the entire region. So it's very good to see a cool down here. But that's also going to be a problem because then all that monsoon moisture is going to bring now flash flooding and heavy rainfall and excessive rainfall concerns. Okay, but for the rest of the U.S., you can see out here in the in parts of southwestern Michigan, parts of southeastern Wisconsin, you have a flood watch, and they also do have a flood warning out for a few counties out here. This is mainly just because we've been seeing so much rainfall as of last night, and then getting into this morning, it is still raining. So we're getting few inches of rainfall, seeing a few inches of rainfall out here in this region throughout today. And then for the rest of the U.S., for the northwestern U.S., you have another excessive heat warning, including pretty much the entire state of Washington down the coastline of Oregon and Northern California. So that's also gonna be the one thing that's causing that is because of El Nino, because we see the northwestern U.S. is going to get very very hot. If we see a typical strong El Nino is the things. One of the things that it brings is very very warm and hot air up to the northwestern U.S. So when we get to winter, it'll obviously be cooler, but it's still going to be very very warm out there because we're going to have all that. We're going to have all that monsoon moisture still out there, and we're also going to have some things that are going to have to play with that El Nino kind of pattern here. And so we're going to be moving on to our NAM 3KM model for the Midwest. Now we're just going to be kind of looking at how strong exactly these storms are going to be and what are the characteristics looking like on each and every one of these storms. We're going to be breaking down all of them for you guys right this second. So you could see that starting off this was about this morning. This was pretty much just a few hours ago. You can see that we've got our the center of the storm right here, and it's looking pretty healthy. It's you've got a lot of precipitation on the outside edge of the northern part of the storm. Now, the southern part of the storm is pretty much empty. That's not a good sign though, because that's going to tell you that there's going to be a lot of thunderstorm action on the front of that side, which would be the eastern side in this case, and that is not good because those storms could be severe. That's what we're tracking today. And you can already see that thunderstorm buildup that was happening this morning right here. These storms into firing across parts of central and western Illinois. Those are going to be those further developing severe storms that we're going to be seeing in this region throughout the rest of today. Then you also do have some more leftover showers and thunderstorms out here moving their way across parts of central and eastern Kentucky. Now those have been pretty strong as well. So we're gonna have another highlighted region that's gonna be under the gun for severe weather today. But pretty much everybody out here is gonna get a lot of rainfall at least, and then some of these areas will see some strong to severe storms. That's definitely a possibility and a likeliness for today. But let's get into the afternoon hours of today. We really see this cluster of storms and group of storms really it starts to weaken dramatically as now it's going to be moving its way into parts of the interior northeast and then also parts of southern Ohio into the Ohio Valley. Now they're still going to bring a lot of rainfall, but I think that severe weather threat is really going to die down as we get into the as it gets into the Northeast. Now, once it gets pretty much right in the middle of the Northeast, which we're gonna take a look at later, I want to show you guys how it comes in very very weak, but then it really gets ramped up, and that's because there's a lot of moisture out in the Northeast. The Northeast is loaded with moisture and a lot of favorable conditions for severe thunderstorm development. There's a lot of Cape out there, so we're not going to be looking at the Cape map today, but the Cape levels are currently very very high in the Northeast. I know where I live. Look, it's 86 degrees. I'm on Long Island, just so you know. So it's very very hot and muggy. That sets the stage perfectly for severe weather. So we got to be pretty careful about that. Um, but yeah, you can see that we got a lot of storms out here firing across parts of southeastern Wisconsin. Southeastern Wisconsin. So if you get what if I mean, maybe even as late as 5-6 p.m. today, pretty much when you're eating dinner, and then all of a sudden you're hearing thunder and maybe even some hail, some pretty strong winds out there. Maybe your lights will flicker once or twice. That's definitely possible for all these people out here in northern Illinois, including the Chicago area. Then also obviously central and southern Wisconsin. All of you guys could definitely see some more storms as late as 5, 6, maybe even 7 p.m. And here we go. We get a little ramp up of this storm here. You can see we got a line of discrete supercells that are going to be charging across parts of Indiana and Illinois. That's pretty much what's going to be driving our 2% risk for tornadoes for this region. I know this is not going to be the highest tornado threat just because these storms don't have that much room to rotate. You can see they are discrete, but not by much, and they also don't appear to be that strong. They're not. The rotation doesn't look. I mean, to me, it's looking like these storms aren't going to have that much of a strong rotation. We can even look at sounding on here and see what the highest severe threat level would be for one of these storms. It would be a marginal severe, so we don't really have any. Uh, we don't really have much detail on this, just because it's very low chance that we're going to see a tornado. It's just a plain out marginal severe risk. That's pretty much what we're going to have. So I really think that there's definitely a tornado threat with this. It's not non-existent, but it's definitely not very very high. It's very low. But that's definitely possible. And if we were to see a tornado, that tornado threat would last pretty long, because we're getting into the overnight hours of tonight, almost the middle of the night. And you can see we've got still more of those supercells. They're going to be moving their way uh, throughout parts of now Michigan, parts of eastern Indiana, and parts of western Ohio. So there's going to be certainly a lot of areas that are going to be seeing at least a low tornado threat, but I really don't think we're gonna see if we, maybe we'll see one week brief like EF0, EF1 tornado. That's definitely possible, but I really don't think we're gonna see a very big event in terms of tornadoes and rotating supercells. And then the storm kind of pulls out of this area. It'll maybe even bring some more rainfall as it spins around out here in parts of southern Michigan. That's definitely possible. And then this will really just move on to the northeast US. And then behind it, we're going to get some high pressure moving in this area. It's going to get pretty hot. It's going to get back into the 80s and 90s for most of you guys. But we are going to get some high pressure out in this area, and maybe some warmer temperatures. So it's going to be pretty much it for the north central and the Midwest. So we're going to be moving on to the Northeast. We're just going to be looking at kind of what's in stock for you guys today, because there is the highest threat for severe weather in place for the Northeast and specifically the Mid-Atlantic today. So I'm going to highlight the areas I'm most concerned about. I really do think that the areas that are most certain to get severe weather, it's not that we're going to definitely see severe weather in this region. It's still just a possibility, but it's looking pretty likely that we're going to get some areas are going to get severe weather in this region right here. I think this whole blob of parts of Virginia, part of the Delmarva region, and then also parts of southern New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania are all going to see some pretty intense to severe storms as we get into the evening and overnight hours of tonight. Then we get another ramp up of severe weather, a possible secondary threat of severe weather, which is going to be included in that marginal risk for areas up here in the interior and coastal regions of the Northeast and southern New England. So that's going to include some cities like Trenton, New Jersey, New York City. It's going to include Hartford, Connecticut, not quite the Boston area. I think late tonight, like very, very late tonight into the extreme early morning hours of tomorrow, we could really see a strong to severe storm move through the coastal regions of Massachusetts. That's the only reason why it's out of this circle here. I think it's definitely that there's still an existing threat of severe weather out for that region. I just don't think that it's going to be at the same exact timing as these guys out here a little bit further off to the west. So you'll just have to wait until we get into the morning hours of tomorrow until we start seeing some more storms roll through that area. But to start out, you can see waking up this morning, it looks like a perfect day. I mean, maybe some showers and thunderstorms out, scattered showers and thunderstorms out in this region as you're waking up. So it was actually a very nice morning in terms of weather. But here you go, you get some more storms starting to creep up and fire across parts of West Virginia, and those are going to be your first storms of the day. And then you could start seeing this entire storm start thrusting through this area, now giving some downpours and some heavy rainfall to places of western PA, the Pittsburgh area. You guys will definitely be included in this. This is probably going to be around, I would say, 6, 7, 8 p.m. today. I think once really after just after dinner time, I think you guys are gonna start seeing the strongest of storms move through that area. But you notice that the storms don't look that bad. According to the NAM 3KM model, this is actually, I believe this is a 6Z. Yeah, this is a 6Z. So this is actually, I recently looked at, I previously looked at the 12Z NAM, but it's not, it's having a lot of trouble picking this up. So I'm just going to stick with the 6Z for today. But you can see this entire region. I mean, you're definitely getting some strong to severe storms out here. There's no doubt about that, but they really don't look as bad and as strong as these ones down here approaching the Delmarva area. So I think that we're going to see, this is also, if you didn't know already, this is what's driving our slight risk. These are these storms that everyone's concerned about that are going to be heading right for the Delmarva area and our nation's capital specifically. But they're going to be moving northeastward at a pretty fast rate. So you can see that they quickly march through this area. We're getting into about 11, 12, and 1 a.m. in the morning. 11 p.m., 12 a.m., and then 1 a.m. in the morning. We're starting to see those stronger storms move right through that area. And then obviously off to the west, in the interior parts of the Northeast, you still don't see that much thunderstorm development. So that's what I said earlier. It's going to come in very weak for these areas in the interior Northeast, but watch as it gets right up against the coastline. It really starts to just, get its act together and really gets going. Also, pairing with the leftover energy into these storms, it's really going to get pretty messy out there. And here you go. Look on the backside of this storm, a lot of storm action firing across eastern PA. So for you guys in eastern PA, it's going to be kind of a weird day. It's going to start out in the morning very, very hot and humid and very warm and sunny. Then all of a sudden it's going to get very cloudy, and then it's going to start raining like cats and dogs out there. Maybe some pretty strong wind gusts with that as well. Okay. It's gonna stay like that for maybe half an hour to an hour, probably around dinner time, and then from dinner time to 7, 8 p.m., it's just going to be raining, like steadily raining. And then all of a sudden, anywhere from 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m. in the morning, there's going to be a lot of storm action, and there's just going to be a unleashing and a massive amount of rain once again. And it's also not only going to have that rainfall, but you're also going to have a damaging wind threat with that. That's definitely going to exist with those storms. Also, a tornado threat. I think there is a 5% chance for a tornado somewhere in this region. It might be down a little bit farther southeast. That actually might be true, but I'd have to look at the SPC for that. But yeah, these storms they're not going to lose steam. They are going to be marching across this area now into parts of northern New Jersey, Long Island, southern New England in general. It's just going to see a whopping, uh, I don't know, like, I'm telling you, we're gonna see a lot of storms out here that are probably gonna bring storm specifically wind reports up over the hundreds. So I think that's my guess on this storm. I would say I think a safe kind of thing to say is that we're probably gonna see somewhere around 100 wind reports after this storm. I think, just looking at this model run, I think our highest start of the day is definitely going to be damaging wind gusts for this region. But I also do think that we're going to have a tornado threat with this. That's definitely possible. But you're getting some strong to severe storms moving through New York City, Long Island, northern New Jersey, parts of eastern PA. This continues to roll through the area, and this would be pretty much around 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. So, I mean, I doubt that. I doubt that most of you are going to be waking up at this time of day, but some of you I know are going to be waking up early for work tomorrow morning, and you'll probably wake up if you're in the Northeast, specifically Southern New England. You could probably wake up to some very, very heavy rainfall, some damaging wind gusts, and maybe even some relatively large hail bouncing on your roof. But here you go. We get even later into the day, and a very strong storm appears to will move through that area in Long Island and New York City, and it does not lose steam as it rolls through the area. You could even see out here in eastern Long Island, you have some pretty strong storms that will move through. And then here you go in that Boston area I was talking about. It's looking like it's just going to be rainfall for you guys. That's not a definite. There's still a chance, a very very small chance to see some severe storms. We could even click on this for sounding, and we don't really have a severe chance of seeing a tornado. So or a any type of severe storm. But I think, personally, me, I think that we will still see a severe storm or two in this region. I don't think the severe threat is non-existent, and it won't be completely down as the storm gets all the way out to this area. But I think it's going to be very very low as it moves out, and then behind it we get another round of storms. This will be for tomorrow. We're gonna talk about this. Probably, I think I'm gonna probably do an update about this tomorrow. But right off the bat, you could tell that the storms out here in southern New Jersey are going to be the worst of them. Just already, I mean, this is we're getting into 11, 12, 1 p.m. Tomorrow, and we are definitely going to be seeing some strong storms move through this area, and we're going to have to talk a lot about those. But yeah, definitely the coast. A lot of these coastal regions of the Mid-Atlantic and southern New England are going to be experiencing some very, very intense to severe storms as we get into tomorrow. And then maybe even behind it, we will have another area that could get some more action on those thunderstorms. So we're going to be moving on to our SPC outlook. And starting off today, we're looking at our categorical outlook. You can see we're up to a slight risk. I'll move myself up here so you guys can see the key out here. This is our slight risk. It's level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, but it's including a lot of populated areas. You can see you have a slight risk for areas stretching from southern New Jersey, southern PA, down into parts of Virginia, parts of West Virginia. This also does go into parts of eastern Kentucky, all the way down into parts of northeastern Alabama. This includes a lot of central and eastern Tennessee, including Knoxville and Nashville, Tennessee. This goes up and over parts of North Carolina. This does include Raleigh. I think you guys would pretty much be considered in this slight risk. Um, this does include the Delmarva area, specifically including D.C., Baltimore, and then Richmond, North Fork. That all you guys are going to be in that. And then Roanoke, you guys are also going to be in that. So a lot of major cities in Virginia, in Delaware, in Maryland, all you guys will definitely have a chance for seeing some strong to severe storms today. This does include Jackson, Kentucky, and Charleston, West Virginia. So that's going to be it for your slight risk. Okay, for the surrounding areas, you got a marginal risk. This is where we have those really, really highly populated areas, but the problem is that we have so many of those because we have a huge, huge area stretching all the way from the extreme areas of extreme eastern Iowa, all the way down into parts of northern and eastern Illinois. It snakes its way down into Kentucky. This does include Paducah, Kentucky, down into Tennessee, northern Alabama. This does roll through northern Georgia. It's not quite including Atlanta, but you guys could definitely get a thunderstorm today. Includes parts of central and northern South Carolina, including both Columbia and Charlotte, North Carolina now. So parts of North Carolina, including Charlotte, Wilmington, then Greensboro and Raleigh. All of you guys will be in that marginal risk for today. And then it shoots up the coast. And then all of a sudden you have New York City, all of Long Island is now included in this marginal risk for severe weather today. Rolls right through central PA, including Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis, and it also does include Louisville, Kentucky. So there's just so many major cities out here. That's what's really bad when we have these severe weather events that move through these regions, is because out in the Northeast and the Mid Atlantic, we have so many populated areas that there's a lot of people that are going to be in the way of these severe storms. So that's going to be it for your categorical outlook. And I'm just going to roll through this tornado outlook. You can see we've got a 5% risk for seeing tornadoes, specifically right out here in southern New Jersey, southeastern PA. This also does include parts of the Delmarva area, including Baltimore and DC. All of you guys are going to be in that 5 to 9% risk. And then for the surrounding areas, you've got a 2 to 4% risk of seeing a tornado, including all of Long Island, including New York City, northern New Jersey, central PA, including Pittsburgh. This goes down into the Ohio Valley, stretching all the way out to parts of extreme southern Wisconsin and eastern Iowa. This does go down into parts of northern and northeastern Tennessee, and then this entire region in general is going to have a relatively low end chance for seeing a tornado today. And then for the last part of your SBC outlook, we're not going to look at the hail outlook just because it's only a 5% risk, but there are these two areas that are going to be having a chance for seeing some large hail. But this is going to be the main threat of the day, our wind threat. We're up to a 15 to 29% risk of seeing damaging wind gusts for this area. No, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's for that same area of that slight risk, and then for the 5 to 14% risk of seeing damaging wind gusts, it's for that area, just the surrounding area. Also, that same area of the marginal risk. So it's going to be it for your severe weather today. Now we're going to switch over to the tropics. So I just want to take a moment to tell you guys and talk to you guys about what the changes have been with the tropical Atlantic forecast. So it's been a very quiet season so far. We have we went through pretty much all of the summer until where we are now in mid-August, and we've only got 4 or 5 named storms already. We have Arlene, we got Dawn. We definitely got Dawn. I don't think we got Brett. We might have got Brett. I think we did get Brett. Um, and yeah, we just I can't remember any other name storms. We got 3, 4, or 5 named storms so far this season. But one strange thing though that has happened is that the National Hurricane Center has upped their forecast for the Atlantic hurricane season to a above average season prediction. So specifically, a 60% chance of seeing an above average season, which is very, very scary. So that tells you, I mean, this late, when you see that this late, that tells you that they're expecting late August into early September to be absolutely, extremely active with tropical development. I mean, when you go from like a 20 to 60% risk for just like 1 month in total, I mean that's pretty much the equivalent to seeing wave after wave after wave with all a decent chance of seeing of developing into a tropical cyclone. So that's pretty scary. But we already do have 2 areas that we are going to be looking at today. We've got 2 tropical waves out here. We've got one out here. This was updated as of this was just updated like an hour and a half ago. So for the eastern tropical Atlantic, we have a tropical wave that is forecasted to move off the western coast of Africa on Wednesday or early Thursday. Pretty much has slow development of this system is possible late this week over the weekend, while the system moves gradually west northwestward or northwestward across the eastern Atlantic. So we definitely won't see development now, but there is a low 30% chance of seeing development through the next 7 days. So it's way too early to make pretty much forecasts on this, but for now we have a around 30 to 20, 30, 40% risk of seeing tropical development. That's going to be the most concerning one as for today. Now the second one is just south of it. This also pretty much has the same chance of seeing development. This has a 20% chance, though, so it's 10% lower, but there also is a chance to see some development with this system. But they're both pretty much going to be moving parallel towards the eastern coast of the United States as we get into late this week and then into this weekend. So we're going to be tracking both of those storms throughout this week, and we'll maybe even see if these storms could get a name. I think we're up to Cindy, or actually no, I think we're up to. I actually forgot what we're up to, but we did. I think we did get Cindy. So we will Emily, yeah, we could definitely see Emily. Get Emily could be taken off the names list from one of these storms. That's definitely possible. So we're going to be moving on to the GFS outlook. We're just going to be looking at kind of the latest model run guidance, just to look at what the chances are going to be for seeing a potential tropical cyclone. I mean, I also want to tell you guys, just want to let you know that the last few GFS runs have all agreed on at least one major hurricane to kind of explode out here in the North Atlantic. So I'm just telling you, warning you guys that the GFS has been quite active in terms of seeing tropical development. So we're starting off here looking at our current tropical waves. This is our one that has a 30% chance, and here it goes. It finally gets off of the coast of Africa. So far, it has a 1,009 millibar low pressure center. Keeps going. This tries to fight some high pressure ridging out here, which is relatively far away from it. And at this point, it's got some circulation. It's got some rotation with the system. It's down to 1,004 millibars. So at this point, this could be a tropical depression. I think we could see a tropical depression. Excuse me, maybe as early as the 19th. I don't know when that would be. I think that'd be somewhere around Friday to Saturday. So, as early as Friday, we could see a tropical depression form from this. And we keep going, see if it does anything, and it doesn't. So, the most that as of now, the highest level that that system could get appears to be a low end tropical depression. Okay, and we look at the second wave. This is the one just south from it. Here it is. We'll keep watching it. Keep watching. Doesn't do much, but it's still out there. And it pretty much it's done. Okay. So that's pretty much what we've got now. Okay. But I want to tell you guys that if you look over here near Central America, the GFS has been picking up on multiple tropical waves that have been moving through the Caribbean, and we've got to watch for those. So we'll see what if they do anything. Here you go. You got this is pretty much where it is. That's pretty much it. You got some low pressure centers forming right here, and here you go, right south of Cuba, 1,000 millibar low pressure. This would probably be a tropical depression. I'm not saying it will be a tropical depression. I'm just saying that if it were to get this strong, it would be probably a tropical depression to tropical storm. Okay, we'll see if the GFS does anything with it. Here it goes, sub 1,000 millibar low pressure center. This would probably be a kind of low end tropical storm. This would be right in that area, though, that we do not want any system of some sort to get into this area, because the waters are just they are hot, they are boiling out there, and there is a lot of moist air and conditions for tropical development. So it's really favorable, like almost the most favorable part of the Atlantic Ocean right now for tropical development. And here you go, you got a system that gets in there. This is a high-end tropical storm, 986. It's anywhere from a high-end tropical storm to low-end hurricane. And here you go, 985, and then here it goes into the 978. So far, the GFS is showing at least one possible hurricane, and I mean, I don't think this would be a major hurricane at this point. It'd be big news, definitely be major news, but it is showing one potential hurricane to form in the Gulf. That is really not, it's not good, and the reason of that is just because you see, we don't really have any sort of ridging, at least not strong ridging, anywhere near this area. So number one, there is a lot of low pressure kind of just scattered around this area. Number two, we have pretty weak wind shear. And number three, we have very, very hot sea surface temperatures. And then number four, we obviously don't have any ridging out there. And then here it goes. It makes a landfall right for the Louisiana coastline as a 963 millibar hurricane. That would probably be a Category 2 to Category 3 hurricane. It's way too far out to make any like decisions on what this could be. It's way too far out to even say that we're definitely going to get a chance for development. But what we can say now is that we can think that we're going to get some sort of chance of development probably as soon as tomorrow. I think tomorrow, or maybe even tonight, we will see a yellow X pop up here somewhere in the Caribbean, posted by the National Hurricane Center, of a 20 to 30% risk for development. I think that's definitely possible, just because the models have been so active on just this one system for the past few days. But yeah, I mean, 957. That is a very strong, and that's a very strong hurricane. We can even go down to the southeast to get a closer look at what this thing could look like. And yeah, here you go. It's got beautiful rotation. This is looking pretty nice. It's got an eye right here. Looks like the western eye wall would be the strongest. And we get all the way into 29th. We get to the 30th, and here it goes. It's still in the. It's still probably a hurricane at this point. It's 981 millibar low pressure center, trying to make a jump for northeastern Texas. Right now, it's impacting parts of eastern Texas, Texarkana, and uh, parts of Louisiana. And then this finally, kind of just jumps all over the place out here. This would probably be a low end. This would probably be a mid to low end tropical storm at this point. But it's way too far to make any decisions on this. Okay, so we're gonna take one brief, quick look at the rest of the Atlantic just to see what the GFS is saying for you guys. Uh, and we don't really see anything else. We do get some more tropical waves out here off the coast of Africa. And then we do get one system out here that's pretty much, it's probably going to be from that one tropical wave that we have now. That's pretty much what we have, where it's going to kind of move like this, and then somewhere in here it could develop and actually get a name. So it's going to certainly take a long time if it does get a name to develop, but it's still definitely gonna have a chance as late as August 28th. But it's gonna be pretty much it for the GFS. Now we're gonna look at the Euro, see what the Euro is looking like for now. So this goes out 240 hours, so we have plenty of model run time out here, and we really don't see much. We don't even see that storm. It's not even picking up that storm in the Gulf. So it's the you know the Euro is staying low on tropical development, which is, when you see a model run take it slow with the tropical development, I mean that's a good sign of the model run being very reliable. But it does show one system out here, out in the central Atlantic, maybe even another, that don't quite get a sub 1,000 millibars. But this one could definitely uh, become a tropical storm. And here it does, kind of fizzles out. Now it doesn't do much. Okay, so the Euro's staying pretty low with the systems. One or two, though, could definitely form according to the Euro somewhere around the 19th, 20th. It's way too far out to make any decision on this. Okay, all right. Here's the Canadian model. This is going to be the model that's going to be pretty much drunk today. I think the Canadian model always goes nuts over the tropical Atlantic. So whenever you see an up in like a higher chance of seeing tropical development, the Canadian model takes it way up to crazy hurricane strength. So you're definitely not everything you're going to see on this map is going to be true. That's a definite. Okay. But we are going to see what sort of signal we're going to have for development according to the Canadian model. Okay. So this is our first wave that we have a 30% chance of development right now. And here it goes. It gets to sub 1,000 millibars very quick. As soon as August 20th, which would be probably anywhere from next week on Monday to next week on Tuesday. Okay. We'll see what the Canadian does with this. this would probably be a hurricane. So the Canadian already takes it up to hurricane strength, and at the same time, we get that storm in the Gulf. That's going to be now, according to the Canadian model, moving a little bit farther west, so maybe impacting parts of southern Texas. That one also, it's kind of weird to see that the Canadians going to make this. Looks like the Canadians going to put this as a little bit of a weaker hurricane or a tropical storm for the one in the Gulf. That's probably, if this were to be true, which is definitely not going to be true, if this were to be literally the final like forecast and outlook of the storm, this would be around a low end tropical storm to low end Category 1 hurricane. That's pretty much possible. We go back to the system that we're tracking right now. It takes it up to it takes it down to 980 millibar low pressure center, around there. That is a Category 1, Category 2 hurricane. So that's pretty strong. Those are wind gusts that could get over 100 miles an hour, but it doesn't hit any land, which is very, very lucky for us. Okay, so that kind of moves out, and then behind it we get that second tropical wave, and I think once we get a few more model runs, it will eventually take this one up to hurricane strength as well. But the Canadian model also does show a very strong signal for seeing development. That's what our overall kind of that's what our overall kind of thought is that, and notice is that all these models, the three major models, are all showing a pretty big signal for development. And for the last part of the update, we're just going to be looking at the possible tracks of these storms. So I mean, it's very, very far out again, but if we do get any development, we're going to be looking at the one of these model runs, just to look at kind of what the possible tracks could look like. So we'll put this out all the way to where to as far out as it can go, and we see a lot of storms out here. This is the spaghetti model out here. These are all the spaghetti models. A lot of these can be strong. You could see out here in these pinks. These are, you know, these are uh, pretty much, these are the pinks you see here on these tracks. These are major hurricanes. These are all these are major hurricanes. You see 952 millibars, 934, 937 out here. That is very, very strong. 937 is Category 4, Category 5. So that's not good to see that, a few of these tracks being how strong they are. So there is a substantial signal for a strong hurricane. That is definitely possible. But another problem is that they're really close to the U.S. So that's one area that of concern out here. This area of a tropical wave. I think this might be the tropical wave that we have right now. That's just far south. So the southern tropical wave that we're dealing with right now, for some models, is forecasted to be taken all the way up to uh, major hurricane status. It's way, way too far out to definitely say that. It's just that as of now, there is a pretty good signal for seeing some hurricane development that could get up to strong uh, kind of status. But that second wave that we have now, it's going to develop a lot quicker. As you can see, it has a little bit of a smaller track, but it also does, for some models, take it up to a hurricane strength. It's looking like this one's going to be a little bit weaker. So some of these models you can see 978, 992. I mean, most of these are sticking with depression to tropical storm strength, but again, some of those have been taken up to hurricane strength. Okay, now we have a third signal out here for development, which is this one in the Gulf, and it's looking like the Canadian model was right about the kind of the location of the storm as of now, because all of these tracks take it right into parts of southern Texas. So we're all gonna watch these three storm signals. So we've got storm signal number 1, number 2, and number 3. We're gonna watch all of these systems as we get into this week, and then further into next week, and then eventually late August. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch. We'll see you guys in the next video. So be careful out there in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast for that severe weather, maybe even as far west as the Midwest. And then we're also going to be tracking, obviously, the tropics, as the tropics seem to be coming alive, very, very suddenly and abruptly. And it's looking like the tropics could downright explode. So we'll definitely have to track both kind of storms, not severe weather in the U.S., and then also tropical storms and hurricanes in the Atlantic. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch, and we'll see you guys in the next video.